Hello horror hounds, welcome back to our sojourn through the undead-infested jungles of 70s and 80s Italian zombie movies. Last time we took a look at Zombie 3, known here in the UK as Zombie Flesh Eaters 2, and numbers being what they are, it dictates that the next film has to be Zombie Flesh Eaters 3, otherwise known as Zombie 4, or also After Death, where its predecessor went the contagion route through a biological weapon which raised the dead. Its sequel is voodoo all the way, baby. It's also dumb, really dumb. If this film were a dramatic musical sting, it would be dum dum dum. The film is set on a remote island where a voodoo curse had once raised the dead, killing everyone except a 4-year-old girl who escaped. How? Don't worry about it. The movie certainly doesn't. Just know that 20 years or so later, she accidentally returns with a couple of friends who have hooked up with some mercenaries who are on vacation. Yep. Elsewhere on the island, there is a small group who are hoping to find out what happened to the scientific team that never returned all those years ago. They find a book called The Book of the Dead, and this ain't no Necronomicon Ex Mortis, it's literally a hardback book that looks like it's been covered with brown paper and Book of the Dead written on it in black marker. Naturally, one of these Einsteins reads from it and raises the dead once again. Dum dum dum! The film stars Jeff Stryker, who was better known for his roles in both gay and straight porno movies. This film was his first non-porno role. And 80s porno is the kind of acting style you can expect from the entire cast. I guess Stryker at least had made a good fist of it in the porno biz before joining the cast. I could spend all day listing the things that are wrong with this movie. And if you want to go online and read other people's reviews, every single piece of nonsense is picked clean, and trust me, there is a lot to pick at. Instead, I'd like to focus on what's good about the movie. So we got the awesome opening. Scientists on a remote island are working on a cure for cancer and inadvertently piss off the local voodoo priest who raises the dead to rid the land of this evil science. They're trying to save his daughter from leukemia and understandably they failed, but he blames them for her death. In response, he opens a gateway to hell. He sends his wife there so she can return as a possessed zombie demon who can wreak his revenge. He says, "You wanted to defy hell. Hell has accepted the challenge." He seems like a reasonable chap. She returns looking very similar to the creatures in Mario Bava's brilliant Demons and Demons 2. And as she sets about pulling apart the scientists within her reach, the violence and gore is fantastically OTT. Eyes are gouged out, strips are torn off faces that are left looking like mincemeat. This film is going to be epic. Sadly, the frenetic opening, the science versus faith confrontation brought on by the death of a child, gives way to the rest of the film, which is cut from a different cloth altogether. We're then treated to Alfester's very unexpected theme song. Unfortunately, unlike an awful lot of its peers, this Italian horror movie does not rely on synthy moogie goodness, but instead we get a soft rock power ballad that strangely put me in mind of the opening credits of Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, which is equally weird because the heroine, the little girl from the prologue, now all grown up, kept reminding me of La Park Lincoln from Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. If you've seen Mario Bava's Demons or Demons 2, you know that one of the conceits of both of those movies is that there's a film within a film. In the first one, whilst everyone in the theatre is watching a horror movie about people who raise the dead, and then the same thing happens in real life, and in part 2 someone is watching an equally cheesy film on television before in real life the demons start infecting everyone. you will know that the films within films in both of those movies are nonsensical, cheesy, badly acted, awful rubbish. Zombie Flesh Eaters 2 is like watching the TV movie within the movie of Demons 2, except that's it. You're just watching that feature-length TV movie. This is where the similarities to Bava's awesome movies ends, though. The zombies in Zombie Flesh Eaters 3 are desperately generic and kind of look like leper ninjas. I guess the nondescript pajamas and head coverings mean that less time and money has to be spent on making up these actors to actually look like zombies. There's a hilarious moment where Stryker finally meets up with the hold-up mercenaries and says that zombies are following him by the hundreds, and when they get there, there's about a dozen of them. That's this film in microcosm right there. The subsequent siege, taken straight from Romero's Night of the Living Dead playbook, you've got to have a siege, is, surprise, surprise, poorly handled. There's no proper sense of space, suspense, or drama. Some of our team are turned into zombies and they become a different breed again. They retain their human memories, they can talk, and they can use the automatic weapons that they still have to hand. I kind of liked the zombified mercenary trying to persuade his friend to join them. It doesn't hurt is a particularly creepy concept, but it's so late in the game that the dynamic isn't really developed. With such a gonzo opening, it's like we joined the movie at the tail end of a really interesting story, only to see that finish, leaving us stuck with 70 minutes or so of boring epilogue. I wish I'd been a little less harsh on Zombie 3, Zombie Flesh Eaters 2 in my previous video, because at least that was consistently entertaining. Look, it's dumb as a bag of spanners, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. This one you can watch an awful lot of the time on fast forward. And I realise I'm sounding down on this movie as well, and with good cause, because it's awful. But I also know what's coming, and I know things can get worse. A lot worse.